Your first electric scooter is definitely the hardest one to choose because you don't know exactly what you need from a scooter yet. This review is about a brand new electric scooter, this one, the VX2 Lite, and it's designed specifically to avoid the most common pitfalls for new riders. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's got full suspension, and it costs just $799. But does it actually do those things? Well, let's go test this 25-mile-per-hour Swiss design electric scooter and find out, because if it does, this could be one of the best scooters on the market for beginner and intermediate riders. I'm Paul Somerville with VMAX, and I've tested over 200 scooters during the last 5 years, including 4 years with Electric Scooter Guide. Let's go for a speed run. 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. We got 25 indicated. I saw 27 miles per hour in the faster direction with the wind at my back. And averaging the 2 runs together, I got 24.6 miles per hour. That's enough speed where I don't feel like I'm stuck in the bike lane, but it's not so fast that I feel like I have to wear full motorcycle gear like I do for 34 mile per hour top speed runs on the VX2 Hub. The VX2 Lite accelerated to 15 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds and to 20 miles per hour in 6.9. To put that into perspective, my test data for the budget scooters, like the one I bought from Costco and Amazon, shows that it takes twice as long, more than twice as long, to get back up to speed after every stop sign when you're riding one of those versus riding a more premium scooter. And that's one of the things that makes the cheap scooters feel a little bit boring. The easiest way to understand the new VX2 Lite is probably to compare it to its big brother, the VX2 Hub. Of course, we all love being compared to our siblings. They're both single motor, full suspension scooters, but the VX2 Hub has enough power to do a little wheelie on takeoff if you don't lean into the throttle. The VX2 Lite goes 25 miles per hour, so it's still quick and fun to ride, but it has a less intense throttle response, so it's more friendly for new and intermediate riders. Let's take a look at the cockpit of the VX2 Lite and the VX2 Hub, and along the way, I'll point out the differences. Let's start with the grips. All VMAX scooters have these grips. They have these big ridges on here that I love because they help your hands really lock in. They feel great either with gloves or without, and the ridges let air get in so your hands can breathe. The handlebars are 21.8 inches wide, and that's about 1.5 inches wider than the handlebars on the Apollo Go. And for me, that's wide enough for great stability, and I don't want them any wider than this, and I'll show you why. This is how they fit in the trunk of my car, and this is what the Ninebot Max G3 looked like when I tried to put it in the trunk of my car. The VX2 Lite uses a comfy thumb throttle with a nice rubber pad, and the VX2 Hub uses exactly the same one, except with a snappier throttle response. The VX2 Lite's brake levers are an easy reach from the handlebars, and there are 2 of them, just like on the VX2 Hub. But on the VX2 Lite, they're set up the opposite way around. They're set up bicycle style. So you've got your rear brake on the right, and your front brake on the left, where the front brake controls your front drum, but also mixes in regen from the back. For fast stopping, the left one is all you need. For regular stops, just riding around, you can use the exclusive regen brake, and it'll recharge your battery. It looks like a mechanical brake because it has a cable. It feels springy. It feels like a mechanical brake, but it's a regen brake, and the more you pull it, the more regen you get. And for anybody right now who's saying, oh man, I really like having my front brake on the right and my rear brake on the left, good news is it's swappable. I've tested it. I'll show you a clip right here. It takes about 5 minutes. You just swap the cables and you're good to go. On any electric scooter, before your first ride, it's a really good idea to adjust the brakes. And you can see I've got mine cranked down because I like them really tight. But let me show you how to do it. With drum brakes, it's really easy. You just lift the front wheel, tighten this screw right here, and keep going until you hear just a little bit of drag when you spin the wheel. Then stop, back it off until that drag goes away, and you're done. Nice tight brakes and a shorter stopping distance. In the middle of the VX2 Lite handlebars, we have the LED display. On the new VX2 Hub, you've got a full color display. The speedo and the battery gauge are easy to see. The turn signals are right here. You've got eco and sport mode right here. And then when cruise control's on, a circle will show up here. The speedo and the battery gauge are pretty easy to see in bright sunlight, but to be honest, sport mode and the turn signals are not the easiest to see from the riding position, but I just look right here or listen for the beep. On VMAX scooters, you get turn signals up top that can be viewed from the back or the front, and you get them down on the deck as well. The signals are controlled with a rocker switch, and I like the fact that you can feel it, and so you don't have to look down to use it. Over on the opposite side, we've got the bell, and that is loud. And that feels appropriate for a scooter that's going to spend half of its life in the bike lane and half out on the road. On the right-hand side, just above the throttle, we've got the headlight switch and the power button. The power button is also what you're going to use to put the scooter into beast mode, and I'll link a tutorial about beast mode right here. All of the controls for the VX2 Lite are right here in the cockpit, so you've got access to the full performance of the scooter without reaching for your phone or firing up the app. The charging port is hidden away in the tail of the scooter right here, underneath this rubber cover, which seals up to keep water out. Speaking of water, the whole scooter is rated IPX6, which is the strongest water resistance rating you'll typically see on an electric scooter. Overall, the locked-in feeling of the grips and the solid feedback from the buttons and switches are a good match for the sporty feel of the VX2 Lite. Let's go ride it. Like the VX2 Hub, the VX2 Lite uses an oil-damped motorcycle-style front fork and elastomeric suspension out back. Because at 25 miles per hour, you really need suspension. Let me show you something about speed and suspension as you speed up. The ground in front of you goes by so fast, it's all a blur if you look too close up. When you go fast, you need to look further ahead. This keeps you safe and smooths out your turns, but also makes it so you're not going to notice every rock or twig that's right in front of you. That's why you need suspension for fast riding to get over those little bumps. But VMAX scooters have springs and oil in the front suspension. You can hear the oil when I squish on it. Now, back is VMAX's patented elastomeric suspension. Elastomeric suspension is more like this rubber ball, except this kind of rubber absorbs energy from impact rather than bouncing back. This is what gives the VX2 Lite a different personality from other $800 scooters that tend to have bouncy and floaty suspension. When you've got good suspension, it doesn't feel harsh. It feels controlled, it feels safe, and you feel less tired when you get where you're going because you're not fighting the scooter the whole way there. Now, truth be told, those cheap scooters on Amazon are amazing transportation per dollar while they last, but none of them ride like this. Let's get back to testing. This time it's going to be the VX2 Lite versus the Ninebot Max G2 in a head-to-head race up the Electric Scooter Guide test hill. The Electric Scooter Guide test hill is a 10% grade, and that represents the steepest hill you'll likely encounter on a normal commute. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, still accelerating. The VX2 Lite climbed the ESG test hill in 12.4 seconds, beating the Ninebot Max G2 by almost a second. That's a strong result for a single motor electric scooter in this price range. That means with the VX2 Lite, you don't have to pick the flattest route to get where you're going, you just go where you want to go. In the brake test, the VX2 Lite stopped from 15 miles per hour in 11.4 feet, half a foot shorter than the Ninebot Max G2, and exactly the same braking distance as the VX2 Hub, despite the Hub having this huge disc on the back that the VX2 Lite doesn't have. Deleting the disc is part of the reason why the VX2 Lite is a few pounds lighter than the VX2 Hub. It also makes the VX2 Lite lower maintenance because drum and regen brakes basically last forever. The VX2 Lite has two battery sizes. The 499 watt-hour standard range version costs $799, and then the long range version has 874 watt-hours and costs $1,099. In ideal conditions, riding in eco mode, you can squeeze 31 to 56 miles out of the two different versions of the VX2 Lite, but nobody really rides like that. So I put them in beast mode, and I got 16.8 miles out of the standard range version and 29.4 out of the long range version. And again, that was riding somewhat aggressively in city traffic in beast mode. If you only plan on doing short rides, 30 minutes, 10 miles or less, save some money and get the standard range version. But if you want a scooter that can cross the city 4 times in a row back to back without charging, go for the long range. With either version of the VX2 Lite, you're getting the same frame, the same suspension, the same brakes, same top speed, and the same hill climbing for $799 or $1,099. But this way, you're only paying for the range that you actually need. In terms of who the VX2 Lite fits, it's definitely made for adults. The bars are 39.5 inches above the deck, which is right on target for my favorite height of about 40 inches. The deck has enough room for whatever stance you prefer. You can see my feet here, and the rear footrest gives you extra room if you need it. That's who it fits, but who's the VX2 Lite really for? The VX2 Lite is for new riders and intermediate riders who want a scooter that will cover all the bases. If you're moving up from a budget scooter, you're gonna feel a very noticeable difference everywhere. Ride quality, speed, range, braking, all of it. Maybe my favorite thing about the VX2 Lite and the whole experience of riding it is just how new rider friendly it feels. The throttle's super easy to use, the brakes are super easy to use, and the suspension helps you feel more confident. If you're the kind of rider that can just never get enough speed, then you'll probably prefer the 34 mile per hour VX2 Hub. But if 25 miles per hour sounds like more than enough, then the VX2 Lite is definitely the way to go, because starting at $799, you're getting the full ride quality that you would get out of our $1,400 VX2 Hub. But you're not paying for performance that you just want to use. While I'm wrapping things up, let me circle back to the battery one more time and say that, if you've got the budget, I've never regretted buying the big battery version of any electric scooter. But if you're sure you don't need it, it's also nice not to have to pay for range that you want used. And the standard range version of the VX2 Lite is about 3 or 4 pounds lighter than the long range. The VX2 Lite lands in this sweet spot where it's just way more capable and nicer to ride than your basic budget scooters, but it's less expensive and easier to ride than an expert scooter. So So far in 2026, the new VX2 Hub has been our best-selling scooter, but I think the new VX2 Lite might take the crown in the second half. I'm Paul Somerville from VMAX. If there's anything you see in this video that you disagree with, let me know in the comments, and I'll comment back. And let me know what you'd like to see in the next video. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Ride safe, and don't forget to wear a helmet.